Hey class, welcome to week 10. You finally made it to double digits. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about distribution and just a little bit about probability. They do go hand in hand. Probability is really the basis of all of the statistics that you read in a scientific study. What we're trying to do is look at patterns in a small group and use those to kind of determine what the probability would be of the same thing happening in a bigger group or a different group. In order for this to work, we need to know what our data look like. And so distribution is a really helpful tool. It's very visual for those of you who might be visual learners to kind of understand what your sample's answers look like in a visual field. So we've talked about mean, median, and mode way back in the earlier weeks, and now you're going to kind of go back to those and what they look like in a graphical form. So you're going to look at essentially some histograms, and you're going to look at shapes and understand what they mean. So in order for probability to work, we need to make sure that we're picking something to do statistics on that's a good representation of the entire sample. Usually this means the average. Whenever you're talking about a group, a lot of people use the average score to kind of summarize the entire sort of feelings of the group. And that's fine if the average is also pretty close to the mode, which is the most common response. If your average and your mode are in good alignment, then that means that your data is normally distributed and you can kind of carry on as normal. However, if you have skew, that means the mode is moving further and further away from your average, and you're going to have to find something else to better summarize what's up with your group. So there's lots of things we can do to fix that. We're not going to go into that kind of detail, but I want you guys to understand distribution and what it means and kind of start getting an idea of what the implications might be for using that sample to sort of predict through probability what might happen in a general population. It's very helpful for you to understand this because as consumers of research, you'll read a lot about distribution, normal or non-normal distributions in articles, and I want you guys to understand what the implications of that are and make sure you're looking out for it, making sure that researchers that you're reading take that into account and that you kind of feel like you have a pretty good idea of what the data might mean in the real world. So there's a couple of videos to help you, especially for those of you guys who like mnemonic devices. There's a really ridiculous video about feet. And then there's a video I actually put together for the class that's kind of specific to what I'd like you to take away from it. Hopefully you find it more interesting than Lupe did, who, as you can see in the background, she is not particularly interested in this, but it's not as bad as she's making it look. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Statistics are one of my favorite parts of science. I'm a huge stats nerd, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. You can reach out to me, as always, on the questions for the instructor board, or if you'd like, you can shoot me an email and just kind of let me know what you're struggling with, or if you have anything interesting that you want to talk about, anything like that, always welcome. So hopefully you guys enjoy this week's lesson, and I will see you next week.